Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in again. We had a slight issue last time where we lost all of our recording due to music, so I have chosen to use streambeats.com to start listening instead. So let's see how that goes, and let's see if we get any issues this time. So let me turn my volume down. So last time we started to look at carts, and well, we kind of got to the stage where we're ready to look at payments, right? Ready to look at taking money and see what we can do. I've got a new setup, I've got a new DSLR camera, I've got a nice new microphone I'm using. Hey Michael, how are you doing, buddy? So yeah, I'm all set up. I've even got one of these really cool stream decks. Wait a minute. There we go. My Twitter name should have changed as well, which is kind of cool. What else can I do that's cool? I can open up stuff like using my stream deck and press buttons and stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not going to lie. I am so far from a professional streamer. Yeah, it should be quite loud. I've got a very good microphone here. So what I'll do, I will get started and I'll try not to fart because this microphone picks up everything. So we're going to start looking at taking payments. Hi wife, thanks for tuning in as always. My best fan, my biggest supporter. So we need to take payments. Let's just recap on what we did last time. So last time, if we just come down to our roots, to our API, what we focused on last time was turning the cart into an order using the store controller. So what we did, we got our order aggregate and we created an order using a little bit of information and then returned a new response. So what we'll do is we'll open up Warp and let's pull that across. I'm actually wearing my super cool Warp t-shirt today. It looks really, really funky to look at. It's not a dodgy angle. It is actually how it looks. So if we go to Code, Sites and Shop, we should be able to run our tests and see how we're doing good. We got 25 passing tests in a second, which is nice. And what we'll do, we'll make sure Warp is this side, so we've always got code in the middle. So if we can turn our cart into an order, we then went through testing all of our projectors for the cart. Hey Samuel. So for one of the last things we did, applying a coupon to a cart, that works. Coupon test, actions, we were testing some actions, creating an order test. That's obviously running and working fine. I'll tell you what I'll do. I haven't actually set up this Mac for this project yet, have I? So we are going to use a PHP 8 interpreter for the project, and then we should just be able to run all of them. And there we go, nice and quick. So we're using some of the stuff that we know we've got already. So where do we go from here? We need to look at payments. So because it's an API, our payments aren't quite as integrated as you might think. So typically what will happen is your JavaScript or your iOS application, your Android application, they will have a connection through with Stripe. And what they'll do is they'll get I can't remember what they call it, like a transaction ID, or we get a token that you can then send on to them. So what we'll do, let's go look at the Skype documentation and imagine we're doing this in JavaScript so we know what we're going to get. So stripe.com, go. Come on, let's go look at the docs. Right, so accepting online payments. Let's have a look at this. Let's accept some cookies because we love cookies. So accepting online payments, this is what we want to look at. So we're going to get like a checkout sort page. going to get an API key, setting up the server, gem install Stripe, getting a checkout session, define product, specify payment, choose a mode, success and cancel URLs, redirect to a checkout. Building a checkout, you can add a success page, a cancelled and an order preview page, checkout button, testing your page. You do some stuff. Payment succeeds. Congratulations. Interesting. So, somewhere along here, is this only available in Ruby, I wonder? Because that's going to be a pain in the butt to look at. Success URL. Okay, so let's go back. Yeah, it was like over 2 weeks ago, I think. It's been a while since I worked on it. Definitely a while. So what we want to do, we want to accept a payment. Let's go look at some just code. Custom payment flow. Pick a server. Oh, there's a PHP server. Awesome. So, some env, composer install, public. What is this? Oh, all.php file. No wonder PHP's got such a bad rep when people like Stripe think this sort of stuff is acceptable as demos. No offense or anything, but it's just not. So let's go look through the index procedural mess that we're about to deal with. So vouchers, pay. So we're going to want to pay something. This is where the webhooks come in, I assume. Okay, so we get the input, construct event from the webhook, getting some signatures stuff, payment intent. So there we go. We need to. It's a payment intent that we need to look for. So let's have a look. Card. Create a payment intent for the amount and the currency. So that should all be done for us, I think. If we're going to do this in JavaScript or in an iOS, we want the client to handle talking to Stripe. Because why do we need to talk to Stripe, really? Then we should get a payment intent back, which we can then store against an order and then start accepting webhooks. I think that might be the best approach. So let's go back and have a look at our orders, because we might just need to extend slightly. But what I'm going to do quickly, because I've not updated for a couple of weeks because I've not been playing with this. Let's go look at our migrations. Anything cool? Anything cool? Laravel's obviously been updated under the hood. Nothing too big, just a couple of little versions. Cool, that's what I like to see. So, orders. Here's our orders. So, state, coupon, total, reduction, key, cancelled at, completed at, user ID, shipping and billing. Yeah, my nails. People have asked me why my nails were painted. My wife got bored with our two eldest kids away, off to see their dad for a little bit because they don't get to see him very often. And she painted my nails because she couldn't paint theirs. So that is why I've got funny colour nails. Right, so what we want here, we kind of want a nullable item here. It's going to be a string. String. It's going to have to be unique. Nullable. We don't want Stripe, we need intent ID, I think. Something like that's going to work best. So to go forward, what we're going to want to do is come down to our models. I'm pretty sure I moved some stuff over to fulfillment order. Here we go. So what we've got down here underneath coupon is we've got an intent ID now as well that we need to make sure we understand. We've got intent ID which we need to be able to access. So that's the intent ID is just going to be that part of the from Skype, right? I thought you could apply descriptions onto. No, shame. That'd be cool if you still could. I really thought you could. You can add comments. I'll add a comment, so that's in the database. Intent ID is the payment intent from Stripe. I mean, if you can add database comments like this for things that are maybe a little bit kind of ambiguous, then I definitely recommend doing it. Hey Dan, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, you know, that's probably something that I'd add to add a little bit of usefulness, really. You know, if it's really not clear, like down here, total and reduction. You know, do we need to add anything? Maybe not. State, number, not so much. So at that point we're probably okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to migrate fresh and make sure it doesn't die. I'm now going to run all my tests again and make sure nothing fails. We're good. So us adding that didn't break anything, which is, you know, a bonus. But what we're going to want to do is our value object here. We're going to want a nullable string for the intent, which means in our factory we're going to need to get the what's it doing? There we go. I hate it when it does that automatically. I'm not a big fan of it forcing some stuff. So there we go, intent ID. So let's run our test again and make sure we don't get any failures from changing any of that. And we do. So 5 passed, data says actions. Actions.php. So let's go see what's going on. So to accept our payment, we know that we need to start looking at accepting an intent. So run those tests again, make sure it doesn't pass. It passes though, and there we go, we're good. So what we're going to quickly do is add that quickly, and what we're going to do is just say dependency updates. What else we've got to add? Those, everything within there. Tests. Okay, so cool. So what we're doing here is we are saying adding payment intent to order. Go away Google, stop listening to my conversation. Stop it. Cool, let's just push that up. So that is now being pushed up, that is good. So how do we expect this to work? So typically what we would do here is, let's open up something like draw.io. That's going to allow us to quickly do some stuff. So what we're going to have is there's an application here. And what that's going to do is it's going to talk to our online store API. But what it's also going to do in the background is talk to Stripe. So it's going to go, excuse me Stripe, could I perhaps or perchance have a payment key or a payment intent thingy-majiggy that you like to give people. Now ask Stripe for this sort of thing. Okay, this is going to annoy me. No. Why won't you just do a nice arrow? Do a nice arrow. Come on. Oh, come on. You're not that silly, are you? You really are. You're really just going to annoy me like that, aren't you? Okay, we're going to have to live with it. So, excuse me, Mr. Stripe. Give me some information. Sure. Here you go. Have your information. There we go. We're going to do it this way instead. So there we go. So there we go. Come on, give me that payment intent. Here's my using your JS library thingy or iOS library. Going to use your integration. Here's my card details. Stripe will go, cool. Thanks very much. Here's a payment intent. I can then send that off to my API, and that's it. Then after that, Stripe can send our API webhooks. This is just really bad. Come on. You could do better than that. Oh, you can't, can you? Okay. You get the picture. There. That'll do. That'll do. That's the best we can do. So, this is what happens when I try and do diagrams on draw.io. I hate doing them. There's so much better things I could do. I think I could even do it better with Figma, and I'm useless at design. So the application, that could be a mobile app, a front-end app, it could be another API, another PHP app, could be anything. It's just another interface into our online store. They will deal with Stripe directly. But the way that they're going to deal with Stripe is using something that we understand. That, you know, we could say, you know, here's the store ID that you got to pass through on the front end, and then it does all of its magic and then gives us a payment intent which we can store. So then when the webhooks come back, we accept those webhooks, and then we can understand what the hell's going on, because we can look for that intent ID and match it up. So what we're going to do now is, I'm pretty sure, so if we go Laravel Stripe Webhooks, here we go. Sparsy has got a package for this. What does it do? Does it sign a secret? Jobs, model? No. I don't really want to use a package for it, to be honest. Is this just a link to his package? And the value request, blah blah. Yeah, this is all about his package. That's not what I need. Receive event notifications with webhooks. So what we probably want like the testing webhooks. Stripe. We can use a Stripe CLI. Ooh. That's not what we want. What's it called? let's do it this way. Let's see if Brew has got anything for us. There we go. Let's get that installed. Oh, it's already installed apparently. Not bad. Stripe login and stuff. So probably have to log in. Cool. Oh, set it to my phone. Oh, sorry, I'm so not organised for this now, am I? Right, okay, let's just drop this in quickly. We can get this bit over with. Cool. Thank you. Yay! It expires after 90 days. We can handle that. We can handle a 90-day expiry. So, Stripe, what can we do? We can do stuff like Webhook trigger or Stripe trigger. Let's see if we add help in front of it, if it does anything. We can do like a payment intent succeeded. That's not what I want. So Stripe trigger that. Ooh, I can check the dashboard details. Okay, so that works. Don't really know what I'm doing beyond that. Unnamed account. Yeah, I know. I've not really set this up properly, have I? To run live tests. Test them locally. Link the account. Forward events to your server. Ooh, cool. Okay. Okay. I'm digging it. We're going to go to shop.test API v1 Stripe webhooks. There we go. Cool. So now we need to kind of make that route, right? So let's come down to our routes API v1 right down the bottom. We're going to go root. I'm guessing sure it's a GET request. Stripe web hooks function find dump request all. That's not going to be there. So add another one. Here we go. So hey, failed. Oh, it's a post. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So, yeah, I just noticed that one. The post request. Darn it. Right, let's give ourselves some space and let's trigger it again. Failed to post to shop.test API Stripe webhooks. The GET method is not support for this route. Supports post. I know that. There's such hosts. Why is it looking on there? Is it cut off? Let me make sure it is visible enough for you. Here we go. How's that? There we go. So when I send that one, we're getting failed to post, post to there. It could be something to do with Laravel Valet. It's definitely there. Still failing. Ah, good point. Good point. What's going on? Oh, don't do this to me. Okay, so it looks like I'm not going to be able to test that very well. But what we could do, we could make some educated guesses, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to make a new controller for this. So to remind myself of the naming convention that we followed, we're going API, V1, cast orders products, so under orders, we're going to create something under there. So make a controller under API V1 orders, and we're going to call this one type webhook controller, and it will be invocable. So this will go to the Stripe Webhook controller class. Let's give ourselves some actual visual real estate going on here. And then what we'll do, we'll just add the name here, which is behind my big head. And that name is going to be under orders, webhooks, like that. That might be a good shout there, Joe. Try PHP Arts and Serve. Tell you what, let's open up another one. Make sure that's running. Yeah, that's working well. So, no, not that. I can replace that. That's ready, go. We got something. So that's now coming to here. We're going to get that request. Request call. So now let's trigger it again. Obviously, where I'm going to have to keep restarting that part. Not really going to give me anything back, is it? Okay, I know. Let's log. The message is going to be context is going to be request all. So let's stop that. Let's go get our log file. Hopefully there's nothing in there, but we will see. Yeah, there's a couple of things in there, but we'll clean that up. Right, let's go and trigger it. Go gadget. We got it. And we got it. Bam. Apparently we've got 3. Object API version, created data, object, ID, charge, payment intent, amount. I'm assuming that's the payment intent. The amount is that, the amount capturable, the amount received, application fee amount, cancelled app, cancelled reason, charges, object list data, ID, charge, amount. Lots of cool stuff in there that we can need to figure out, right? Hey Craig, hope you're doing well, buddy. That's kind of useful, but the only downside to this is that is a lot of information that you can't really very easily read in a CLI app. And that's been logged into here. So let's take it all the way back. Grab it all. Get it all out of the log file so we can understand it a little bit better. Right, so what we're getting is this. Here's our object ID. So what we want to do is come back to here. Webhook signing secret is that. So what we also need to do, we need to check the signing secret. I'm assuming that comes through in a header. Or some description. So check the signing secret. If the signing secret is correct, then what we want to do is process webhook event. I believe there's not a library for this. I mean, yeah, me and HD is like, whoa, wow, you look older than I thought. I wonder if the Stripe SDK's got anything for this. Ooh, if I can spell Stripe correctly. Ooh, okay, that's a bit weird. Don't want to look at that. Here we go. API reference in PHP. So, the base URL, there's authentication, resources, payment methods, products, checkout, billing, connect. That's just about creating them, not really much else. So what can we do? What can we do? If we go back to our data here, so here's the event, and the only thing we've got within there is that. Yeah, I've got a new camera, got a new microphone, got a stream deck, all courtesy of Jump24 to help me stream, and I'll be streaming I'll be doing some streaming as part of my job soon, I hope, which will be fun. Definitely very fun. Yeah, so Cashier is designed for subscription payments. It's not really designed for taking one-off payments. And I saw something that Dries Vince said not that long ago, where he said that if he was to build something like an online store, he wouldn't use Cashier. So I'm making sure I don't use Cashier because, you know, if the person who maintains it says you shouldn't use it for online stores, then I'm going to follow that advice. So I suppose what we could do is let's go look at these webhooks and let's see how they handle it. So Stripe signature valid. This is someone else. It's another way to do it. Okay. Press this Stripe webhook. And what they're going to do. This webhook call payload type. Oh, they do some crazy stuff. Okay, so let's see if there's a handle Stripe webhooks in PHP. Let's see if there's a plain old handling them in PHP. Here's a gist. Let's have a look. Stripe event retrieve event ID. So we can actually get the JSON there. Okay. Oh, so we can use that Stripe event retrieve, which is part of the SDK, I assume. Oh, that's really ugly. That's really ugly. You can tell that's a generated SDK. That's just no. Why do people do it? Oh, that's an old one. How old is this guest? 10 years. Okay. Maybe I can't take that one at his word. Okay. Triggering the event, listen, next steps, taking them live, check signatures. Ooh. Stripe can optionally sign the webhook event it sends. In each event, Stripe a signature header. Okay. You can verify or manually using your own solution. Official libraries and manually. Let's go have a look. Okay, so it's, yeah, sounds like a pain. Let's get PHP. Set API key. Yeah, I probably will do. File get contents. Nope. Getting that. Okay. Try webhook construct event. Cool. So I can use a Stripe SDK here. So what I will do is let's just create another one because we can. So what have we got for Stripe? Stripe PHP. So we can composer require Stripe -PHP. Get that installed. I don't think I'll need much else. So Sparsy's got one. Titan's got a Nova Stripe. Jake Bennett's got a Stripe test token. Sparsy one's fine. Cartless Stripe package. OmniPay Stripe. OmniPay is probably a good one to look at, but I'm going to just go for a base. So what comes in? We probably want to wrap that in middleware, really, don't we? What do we? What's going to be the nicest way to do this? Let me know in the comments. Would you do something where you would wrap it in middleware and append to the request, or would you do it all within the controller itself? Maybe do it as a validation rule, or how would you handle this situation? But what we'll do in the meantime is look at Sparsy package for Stripe webhooks again. how are they handling it? They're all very kind of, there you go, Stripe Webhook controller, new Webhook config. It feels like they've got something in between that's doing something. That's what I'm thinking, Samuel. It makes, you know, if we talk about APIs, it makes the most sense, right? Kill off any false requests early. So let's have a look and see what we can do. I know you don't wipe. It's okay. We'll make a middleware, and we're going to call this. Put it under Stripe, and we're going to call this. What is it? The what do we call it? Stripe some signature validation middleware. I'm going to do that. So what we need to do, if we just focus on Stripe for a minute, is we're going to Stripe set the API key. Cool. I'm pretty sure what I can do here is make a provider as well. So make a provider, and we're going to call this a Stripe service provider. So down in config app, we need to make sure that we're loading that one. We've got Stripe service provider, and what we want to do in here is when it's registered, the boot, we don't really care about the boot method really. So we want to say this bind. That. So we want to bind in the abstract that we want to bind in is the signature validation middleware, and the concrete. So if I just come back to here and add a public function construct. But what we want is PHP 8. We want to be able to go, okay, so we're going to do a protected stripe. So when we're injecting that, we want to say, okay, so let's say set API key. Now the API key is config services.stripe.key. So let's spell that correctly. Shared is true. We only ever want one instance. So this is, I suppose we could drop that and call it a singleton. Anyway, create a singleton instead, because we don't want multiple instances of the Stripe SDK booted up and running in the background, because that is just not going to be efficient. So what we can do instead is we can just bind a new singleton to the container, so that when we are calling the signature validation middleware, we can inject a pre-built instance of the Stripe SDK ready to rock and roll. So that means down here we can say this Stripe do something, or not apparently. I suppose it doesn't bloody matter. Jesus. Okay, so that means I can just say webhook from Stripe construct event where the payload is the request all, I guess, where the SIG header is the request header, where the key is HTTP Stripe signature. And do we need a secret? Endpoint secret. I'm assuming this is probably going to come from config services.stripe.endpoint secret, something like that. Oh, that's going to be like a JSON object, isn't it? How can we do that? How can we do that nicely? I don't really want to do the Okay, we're going to have to do something about that first. So first we're going to have to say that the payload equals request all just that maybe. Here's an event. It's going to do that. So what we want to do, we want to wrap this in that try catch. So we're going to try to create the event. We're going to catch any unexpected value exceptions. So that would probably is an invalid payload. So we will just abort at this point with a, let's just say 400, but that's probably going to be incorrect. If I just go HTTP, what did I set that one to? Unprocessable entity, which is the same as a validation error for Laravel itself. That's an invalid payload coming in. But we're also going to catch the signature verification exception. So catch exception, and then what we're going to do, if that fails, we're going to abort this one with what can we throw here? If a signature's verification exception, then we're going to want to abort with a HTTP. It's unauthorized, really, isn't it? You know, the signature didn't match this unauthorized access. That's the way I'd probably think of it. So then instead of that, we can just do like a match request here, or I suppose that's going to kill it all anyway, isn't it? So there we go. Request. How do I quickly add something onto that request? You can do get, you can do as, ins, keys, method, merge, input array. Okay, so we could probably merge like payload as event, and then carry on. Variable event is probably undefined. Well, it would have failed by then if not, mate. Sorry. That's probably because, yeah. Simplify that. I'm not too sure what that one's exactly throwing. Shouldn't really return anything. It does. Returns a closure really, doesn't it? Or the output of a closure. So that's not really needed. We're going to keep it anyway. See what happens. So now we just need to make sure we add this to our HTTP kernel. How are we doing on time today? That's pretty good. Let's come down our kernel down here, and what we're going to do is under here we're going to add Stripe webhooks. There we go. Middleware Stripe. So let's just do this nicely. Right. Don't know why that's being a pain in the ass there, but we'll. There we go. Now it clicks through. Cool. So that all works nicely. So what we need on our PR is in our V1 we need to add root middleware just stick it in a bit quickly. It is very unlikely that more will be added to this, but I'm going to add it as a root group because it looks nicer. It contains it nicely. Now if I extend it in any way, it means it's already within that group. In case I want to be very specific about how they're working. So, okay. So now if I rerun our serve, that is still running. Let's give it some space. And now if I trigger something new, what happens? Bam, 500. So now we can come over to a Laravel log. Type error, pipeline, handle, I'm assuming that is to do with the way we did this. So in theory, what we could do instead is that. So in here, we don't actually need it. Let's give that a go. I'm assuming what has gone wrong here is we're trying to resolve some middleware, but it needs to be resolved within the pipeline. Just mess, basically. Just mess. Let's have a look. 401. Bam, unauthorized. That's because, wow, we haven't really saved anything, have we? So let's that's that kernel Laravel log. Let's just clean that out. Here's our app. Here's all of this stuff. So let's go back to our middleware. So Stripe signature, bam. So what we need is endpoint secret. That isn't working basically because we're getting an unauthorized and we haven't got an API key, we haven't got anything set up. So we need to come down to config services and we need to start creating a Stripe service. So what we need to start with is an endpoint secret, which is going to be env and then obviously if we look at the provider itself, and the Stripe provider, we're going to need the key for the API key do. env Stripe API key. Bam, done. So what we're going to do first, Stripe API key. Well, because we're just testing, I'm just going to add any old random value into here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. And that'll do. Right, and what we'll do is we're going to copy that, we're going to pop that in an example. What we're also going to try and get is the Stripe endpoint secret. And in that part we will need this. Signing secret is this. So now I try that again. Hopefully I shouldn't be getting a 401. Grr. Okay, so something's going, maybe an API key, or maybe something's gone a little bit winky wonky donkey. Let's go have a look, see if I've got an API key on Stripe. Do that in another browser because you don't want to know all my API keys. Right. Time to play guess the password. Hey, it was correct. Right, come on Stripe. Give me it. Give it here. Right, so right. I am just go to the dashboard please. And what I need is developers, API keys, get that key, copied. What I'm going to do in another window, I'm going to add it in quickly. So if I just quickly vim on .env, go down to the bottom, just make sure that env is not open. Good. Right, that has now been changed. Here we go. I know you lot, you'll all try and steal my environment key because you're mean people. Only joking, obviously. You don't want my useless Skype keys. So send that again and let's see if that now works. Oh, I'm still getting non-authenticated. So something's breaking somewhere, right? Because I've not properly set it up as a shop and all of that magic. Unless this is not being called, which it's a possibility. It is entirely possible that that is not actually being used. So what we will do first is that. Let's restart that process. Let's give ourselves some headroom, and let's go trigger. Bish bash. No, we're still getting a 401. So what we'll do instead, it's not really going to do anything. Have I got Ray installed? Yes, I do. You get message. So let's try and get Ray to work. Come on, Ray. Thank you. Maybe you can help me. So there's that. There's a signing secret, which hopefully is the same. And trigger. Later. I don't have it. It's like it's not even triggering it. Okay, so we're going to try something else first. In here, we're going to ray out. Let there be monies. Yes, we will just allow that. And because we did that, we have to restart. And that. So that worked. So it hit it 3 times with the let there be monies. So let's quickly clear that. Hey Has, long time no see, buddy. Ooh. Ping, let there be monies. So it's failing, kind of. So that is hitting that. We're going to do that there, but we're also going to pop that in there. So what we can do is restart that. What we're going to do, we're probably going to want to clear that. Send a trigger, see what happens in May. We got something! Unable to extract timestamp and signature from header. Okay, so instead, what we'll do up here is, let's see if we're doing this wrong first. Let's just spit out the headers. debugging 103, not quite 101. Yeah, I'm trying out some new gear. I apologise if there's any sort of echo. I've got a new mic which I'm testing. I might need to play around a little bit with some of the inputs. That's all. So there's that. Bam. Headers. We're looking for that header. What we'll do instead is there we go. It's nice when well, if it's better when it's closer, I will just keep it closer so you can hear my voice. It is a Audio Technica AT2020. I need to update my users page, I think, don't I? Add the new gear on there. Right, let's restart Artisan Serve. That's done. Trigger that. So what we'll get here is we've got a T equals, there is that, no signature found matching the expected signature for payload. Okay, so maybe we're not actually expecting a signature. Construct event. Is it required? Is it required? Or, at this point, shall we just verify the header using the way they've done it here? So instead, what we could do is verify header. That header is going to expect a payload. The payload sent by Stripe. Ooh, maybe is that part of the issue? Payload. Now this is hard. How would some of you approach this? I'm not 100% sure the nicest way to do this. Should I be doing less in this middleware? Should I simply just try to verify the header, and then if that passes, construct the event in the controller? Because realistically, this is going to get dispatched to a job. If I'm really honest. I mean, in the Stripe docs, they say to do it this way. Sig header, don't have that. API key, endpoint secret. I might not actually have. Ooh. Okay, so what happens if I run? That's Stripe listen. Oh, that's the secret there. That's the secret. And what we've got, let's just tell that to go away a minute. That's in there. Endpoint.secret. So what I need to do, because I think I might have stored that as an env variable, I need to come and have a look at this off screen and just look at the env. Go down the bottom, Stripe endpoint secret. Let's make sure that is correct. It looks correct. I can't promise it's correct, but it definitely looks correct. So we'll restart Artisan. And while we are restarting Artisan, that should have the event there. And that should be merging it later on. Because it's endpoint secret is that which I've set in env. So there's only one thing I can do. Try it and see, in the words of my good friend Gary Hockin, try it and see. No signature found matching this expecting signature for payload. So something's going on with a signature. I'm receiving something. So what I'm going to do is, can I? No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Ooh. Turn down the volume on the mic a little bit. Okay, let's try that. Oop, oop. How's this? Is this any better? Is this coming through any better for you? I can't see my screen now though. I'm going to have to turn my head like this. We'll try it. We'll test it. So, what we've got is... this could be coming back as null, or it could just die at this point. Let's serve again. Let's see what happens. Trigger. Still getting some failures. Still no signal. 20% louder, but the voice is smoother. I can move that up a little bit. How's that? Is that any better? Excellent. I'm actually getting one of those kind of grills that you can put on top to, I don't know, what do you do? Do you like try and cook food on your microphone while you're talking? And go, one of those things. I'm getting one of those soon. It might mean that I can actually be quieter in the house. The wife won't tell me off for being so loud. That'll be a result. Get in less trouble with my wife. It doesn't happen very often. So something funny is going on here. What I'm going to do, let's see what they did here. So what they're saying to do here is bloody blah, vendor publish, there's a job, there's a model, profile, signature verify, a shock mount. I can't, if Dan, if you're still on, what was it called again? You sent me a message about it on Slack earlier and I cannot remember. Root stripe webhooks. Oh, anti-sniff filter. Yep. Okay, so in the service provider, we are obviously root macro, root post to this controller. There's no middleware, there's no nothing. So we're just going straight to this controller. Yeah, the repo's public. GitHub.com, just Steve King shop. I'll post that in the chat for you. We're currently on a different branch though, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch branch, and well, that makes not a massive difference, but here we go. Add that one to the broadcast. Here we go, down here. You should be able to see that one now. So that's where we are, that's what we're on. Should probably compare and pull request this really, shouldn't I? Even though it's going to be a draft pull request for now, because there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on in here. It's a big feature. I've had several people merge stuff in already. You can see where I've swapped machines, unverified, going on. All checks have passed. All looking good. Lots of information going through. And payment intent order, not a problem. So what we're going to do, let's just ignore that because we don't want that. We don't need that. Don't want this right now. We'll keep that. This, what do they do? So new Webhook Config and a Webhook processor. So what is their Webhook Config? I'm guessing that is a class. Is this Stripe? Is that something different? Is that a different package, that Webhook client? Oh, no wonder Frake gets so many downloads. He's got a million packages all intertwined like the Marvel universe. Here we go. So that is this package. So how does that work? Let's pull this over. So this goes, it's got a model, a webhook. It wasn't a webhook call, it was a webhook config. Here we go. So it's a new webhook config, and what is it? Signature validator. So new webhook config. See if we just nude that up with an array. You're going to get a signing secret. Signature validator. What are we passing over there? Stripe signature validator, some sort of class. Pulling that out. Okay, so we can do request get contents instead. Signature is that, and the secret is config signing secret if we've got one. Okay, so that could be where we're going wrong. So what I'm doing here is I'm JSON encoding the array that, yeah, this could be leading us in the right direction thanks to reverse engineering some sparsy magic. Let's see what happens when we trigger it now. Webhook received, webhook received, webhook. My God, would you look at that? A little bit of try and see, and it worked. So we can drop that. That is now actually working. Question is, do we need this? Let's comment it out and see if we actually need it before we do anything else. Let me remove that from the broadcast as well. So let's restart our serve. Let's trigger. It's all received. Oh, 200s. Oh, we're loving it. So we're getting it. We're actually getting it. So now what we can do is returning the next request, which means we can go back to our controller. Which means we actually don't need that, which is nice. One less thing to do. Don't need our providers, don't need our kernel. What we need, v1 orders, Stripe webhook. Webhook received, And what we could do here instead is just do a lay on the request all, because we're trying to merge in some extra data here. So yeah, I didn't think I'd need the API key, but you know, when you're just not really sure, you want to check some of these things. So I should get something in here. We got something. So actually getting it. We've got the event. We've got the data for the event. We've got the type of the event. We've got the payment intent. Oh, we can do stuff. So now what we can do is we can, I suppose we can do something. At this point, we've got the let me show you here. Let me bring this across so you can see. So we might have got all of this here, which is really useful, but we've actually got this Stripe event added in too, which is super useful. Got a type, it's got the request, it's got a live mode. It's basically got this, but as a Stripe object already, because we've kind of merged. We did some magic merging. So what can we do? Got the event and the signature is valid. So I don't know how we can write a test for this, if I'm really honest, because we're having to run several different programs all at once. Is it maybe something that Sparsy have done in their test down here? Integration test. So Stripe, Webhook Config, do that. This without payload handlers. Okay, so they kind of faked a lot of it. They're posting JSON to the endpoint by creating something. I suppose we could do something similar. Let's write a test. Let's write a quick little test for this. Feature. We're going to create a new PHP file. Stripe web hooks test. Add that one in there. So what we can do is it passes the middleware check for a valid signature. So that's kind of what we're doing at this point, right? So what we would do is, much like what Sparsy do, we want to create a payload. Then we want to create some fake headers and do a post request and assert that it was successful, basically. So what we want to do, we want to do a post request. So let's start off by doing that. And the URI we want to go to is going to be API v1. Okay, so now we're going to have to open up v1.php, and this is going to be called Stripe webhooks. Let's do a post request to the UI there. The data that we want to pass across is going to be very similar to this. So we're going to have a type of event. Let's just open up that Scratch file. We could just use that as a fixture, I guess, couldn't we? Well, at least part of it, right? ID object API version. What kind of does the trick? Thank you very much there, Samuel. So this file is going to be called payment intent.json. I'm just going to save that. This is all completely random stuff. All of this is generated by a complete random, so all of this is absolutely fine to submit. So the data that we want to get is we want to cast the current directory let's get the fixtures. Let's just get that so that our headers can be config services Stripe endpoint secret. Let's try it. I'm not super hopeful. Okay, so API Stripe webhooks. That's what I called it. So there we go. Let's run that. So 401. So we are getting hitting something. I wonder if Stripe's doing anything. Like, how do they do it? They post that determine Stripe signature. Oh, they do something funky, don't they? So they don't just get that, they get a timestamp as well. Okay, so we're going to have to do some magic around this, aren't we? So we could probably come down to pest. It's not really going to be working there, is it? So we need to do it up above here. So want the time. There's a timestamp. Then we've got the payload for it at the same time. So that's just one of the headers. That's passing through the payload. Wow. This is crazy. So we're going to, that's what they do is get the config key. That's a secret, that's fine. I've got the secret, I know the secret. So I can grab this. Let's just do it the messy way first. So they get that secret, they get the timestamp, and then they say timestamped payload equals the time followed by JSON encoded payload itself, which is this. So I can grab that and I can say payload is that. But instead we can say time that there. Then what we're going to do, we're going to get a signature. Wow, let's just copy this so I can understand what the hell is going on. This is some crazy stuff that's going on. So we're going to create a signature by doing that over that with that. Then that gives them a signature, and then this is what they end up with. That's that. Okay. No, that's starting to make sense what we've done. That is starting to make sense. But obviously I'm still failing. But it's making sense. Which is good. It's good, right? Yeah, using the warp terminal with a warp t-shirt while I'm warping my code. I don't get how this isn't working then. If that's exactly what they did. You know, there's a header. That's Stripe secret. Stripe signature. My bad. That could be one of the problems. We still get a 401. Okay. So if we've got a config key, then we do that, otherwise we don't. The wife is just running around making bottles for children. So it's just something's a bit funky. Why am I getting an unauthorized? Is it because it's tied specifically to localhost, or I'm just not sure. Is this part still working? Triggered. Still running artisan serve. Something's going on. Something. But what we will do is, for now, we'll just ignore it. We're running around in circles here, so let's not worry too much. Let's just see what passes the tests. This currently isn't, so this is getting an unauthorized. So for now, what we're going to do is going to comment that out, because we don't want CI to fail just because we can't quite figure this out yet. So instead we will add a to-do, figure out how to test this. Thanks for turning up, Alex. Really good to see you again, buddy. I'll be streaming again from now on, I guess. I do have a few talks coming up, so I will try to keep people aware of talks I've got coming up, because obviously then I won't be able to do stuff. Right, so it's an hour and 35 minutes done. We're now accepting webhooks, which are coming to here. We just don't really know what to do with them yet. Welcome from Russia, and thank you. So I think what we could possibly do here is, like somebody said before, is just run over doing a match on like the request something or other. Reopen Ray, and let's, we might have to rerun some of that stuff. Oh, do we want to? Do we want to? Oops. There's Stripe listing there. And let's see what happens. Right, so we can request type. We can do a type equals match request get type. And when the type is equal to that, actually, do we need to return from that? Let's go have a look. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How about yourself? Can we dispatch a job? Do something? How can we do this? I don't think we even need a match, to be honest, because there's only a few that we're going to collect right now. So what I'd probably do for now, until we get too many, so if the request type is that, then dispatch the correct job. And that's it. That's all we need to worry about right now. So we could create the job now, I guess. Yeah, payments are really fun, but they're also interesting at the same time. A little bit finicky. Let's see what we can do. Have we got any jobs in domains yet or not? No. Really, we should have jobs in domains. I suppose it's because we're doing something else. So, this payment intent should have succeeded by now. So what we should have, a payment intent within the payload. Got an event, we got Stripe object, Stripe payment intent, which got an ID. So what we can actually do at this point is, if we take this data, we can pass that over to a job to process that payment, because we've got it now. So let's do that. That makes sense. So I need to create a job, basically. It's going to be within the fulfillment. So I can create a new directory, jobs. And we're just going to create a new job. So make a job, and we're going to call this job Stripe process payment intent. Bam. So that's going to be up here. What we're going to do, we're going to refactor and move this class to domains fulfillment jobs Stripe factor. Bam. Which means I can now delete that. So down here, ignoring some of this, fulfillment jobs Stripe. Got it? Perfect. And in the constructor, so what we can have a look at here, we're actually receiving a Stripe event. We could just grab that, right? Let's just serialize it. Or should we really be turning this into a value object? You know, do we really want to pass these big, heavy things all around the place? And how much value is going to be in this? Realistically, we've got a Stripe charged client secret. We don't want to be passing this stuff. Let's pass over instead just the bare minimum. So let's create a value object. And value object within here, we're going to create a new directory and we're going to call this Stripe, and we're going to call this one a payment intent, and this is going to have strict types. It needs a constructor. And what can we get from this? So here's the event. Got the event ID. Here's a data versus the object itself, which is of that, the ID. So we've got a string for that ID. That's great. Okay, so public string ID. We need you. Thank you. Object. Don't really need, but let's put it in there just because it looks nice. String object. I saw an integer there as well for an amount. That's nice. Charges, don't care about. Created, we've got like a timestamp. So we can go public int created, although we could probably turn that to a carbon instance, but we kind of don't want to. And then obviously the string for the currency. So instead of created, let's do a string for the currency, because beyond that, nothing's really that important. I can see description. That could be useful. That could be useful to know. So we can add a public string description. Anything to do with invoice, don't need. Metadata, not really that important. Payment method we can get if we want to, but we don't want. And we can get the status, which was succeeded. So we'll add the status. Public string status here. So what we're going to want here now is we need another factory. So there's the order factory, but what we're also going to do, we're going to create Stripe within here, and we're going to create a payment intent factory. So payment intent factory. So as usual, what we can do is public static function make. This is going to return a payment intent. This is going to accept a Stripe event. And we can return a new payment intent where the ID is the event data. So we got the event here. Here's the got event. Here's the event. Here's the data, which is a Stripe object. Object. got the event object. Oh no, event data, which is giving us Stripe object. It's got some properties on it, which means we can now get the object from it, I believe. Lots of interesting stuff going on in here. And that gives us the object, which gives us a payment intent, which we can then get the ID from. So the next thing is the status, which is the event data object status. Event data object. I'm kind of hoping this works. We'll probably have to write some tests around this at some point. Event data object currency. That description now, so we can say event data object description, and then finally amount. So event data object amount. So in theory that should work. Whether it does or not, we will have to wait and see. It's going to be another try and see. The new job is going absolutely amazing. Fantastic. And believe it or not, we are still hiring. So what I'm going to do, no pressure, but we are hiring a full stack developer at the minute to come and work with us remotely. Looking for a mid-level really. Doesn't have to be too senior, but if you're senior, the salary will represent that. If you're more junior, we're okay just to talk to you anyway. So I'm going to drop that link in here. Have a look. Drop me a DM on Twitter or reach out through the link. We're hiring. We're always hiring. We just can't keep up with the amount of work. We just get so much work. So it'll be nice to have some more people join us. Currently we've got, I think, 12 developers, maybe more, and we're hiring like 2 or 3 more. So it's absolutely crazy. Right, so process payment. That is going to accept a public payment intent object here. So what we need to do here is say we need to dispatch this. And what we need to pass into that is going to be the payment intent factory, where we make it, where we pass through the event, which is request get payload. Oops. So this could be interesting. Then let's see what happens if I now just clear that out and just trigger a new one. Are we going to get any sort of failures? Are we going to get anything that just kind of bottoms out and says, nope. So let's go storage, logs, Laravel, unexpected token, Stripe Webhook controller line 16. No, that's obviously an old one. So that Laravel log is now empty. So trigger again. Let's open up Ray. We've got some stuff. Is there anything in the log? Nope. So now if we work the queue, nothing. Okay, so I think we've actually set our queue to be in sync, so it could be synchronous. So what we'll do within here, we are going to log some info where the process payment intent from a webhook job, and the context is going to be where that ID there's a message. Here's some context. Where the ID is going to be this object ID, and the object is this object. Sounds really weird, I know. I might have to rename some things at some point. So let's test it one more time. Hey Mark, good to see you, my buddy. So before I do that, let's go make sure our Laravel log is definitely empty. Yep, we are looking good. And within here, we will trigger. That has now ran. Process payment intent for webhook. There's an ID. There is payment intent. It works. Who would have known? I know what I'm doing. I can rest easy now. I can rest easy. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I think I might call it a day at that for now. We need to figure out how we want to handle this processing here, because what we really need to do here is we need to do like get the order aggregate. Then what we need to do from there is we need to update the status, which reacts to send a notification to the end user customer person. So that's kind of where we're going next with this. We're accepting payments easily, obviously. What we're doing is our front end will integrate with Stripe using like their JS or a JS library or some other way. They'll then send us a payment intent, which we will need to obviously store. Then we accept the webhooks, and webhooks will just link straight up. So what we need to just double check one more thing is on the requests, orders store request, we need to make sure that we get a payment, or we just get an intent through there, and that this is required and it is a string. That's all we need to make sure we do. Then in our API orders store, we can create our order. So we need to go to that create order where we're getting string, cart, billing, all that useful stuff in here. And let's just make sure we add the intent onto here as well, because we 100,000 million% need it. We need that intent. And then that intent is on there. New order was created. So we can add a public string intent. That links up that links up that. There's our aggregate. So that our create order now needs to accept a request get intent. This is going to make a load of jobs fail, I am assuming. So then down in our domain down here, we will come to fulfillment, order factory. There's the intent. The value object has also been amended to have that intent, and the action itself. The intent is going to be the object intent. Bang. Done. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I love how that all just comes together. But obviously I need to amend a couple of tests. So what I'll quickly do here is in our tests, feature tests, we've got create order test, and what we've got is order value object there. In our data sets, here's an order value object. The intent is going to be test 1, 2, 3. If I run that test again, create an order from a current authenticated user. 302. Yeah, intent field is required. Order test line 49. Okay, cool. We know where we're going. 3 cart items. Let's make sure it still passes. So next step is line 28 on here. We obviously got to do the intent again. We're probably going to go through and refactor some of these tests at some point. I might see if I can convince Luke Downing to join us. Order was created line 11. Too few arguments to order aggregate test. So our order aggregate test, we can have intent passed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which we can also pass down here, and then finally down here. Order was created. Let's pass through that intent. And we are good. So we are going to add everything. And what we're going to say is rounding off the order intent link with Stripe. Next task is processing job. And here we go. We are good. That is just under 2 hours, and I think we look good. So that is all pushed up to GitHub, which means we can now close a lot of these tabs. And remember, if you want to come and work with me and some awesome people, drop us an application. jump24.co.uk/careers/full-stack developer. We've got some really, really cool people who work for us. Come and be one of them. We get cool swag. As usual, down below in the description, there is the Discord link. Come and join us. We chat quite a lot. It's quite a nice little place to be. We try and help each other out, and there's a special little rant room for when you're a little bit frustrated. Oh, Mark. Oh, really glad you enjoyed PHP Scotland, buddy. Welcome to the ticket. You won the raffle. You enjoyed it. That's all that matters. No, unfortunately, it's UK only at the minute, Samuel. We are speaking to our accountants to see how easy it is for us to hire outside of the UK, but it's predominantly quite difficult. It is something that we're investigating at the minute, because the market in the UK is fine, but we want to make sure we get a nice diverse pool of candidates. So if that means we've got to look outside the UK, it might be something we have to do. drop me a DM and I'll keep you up to date with what we find out. Other than that, everyone, thank you very much. I will see you Tuesday. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to next time. Thank you.